private stock does not have to be defined by an artist. It doesn't have to be defined by a producer or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? It's defined by us and what we want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's paint our own narrative versus letting other people paint our narratives.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sad Boy Radio. I'm your host, Matt, and today we got a very special. We got three very special guests in the building. That's different. My bad. They helped launch the career of Saba and a bunch of other people. Man, this studio is historic for sure, and you guys have opened up this space to many creatives, me included. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Jason.
Herson.
Lewis.
Talk about the beginning of Private Stock.
I think it all goes hand in hand with one another. The way it started, I was I know Jason for a long time, probably since I was like in fifth or sixth grade. I went to high school. I mean, to grammar school with his sister and his cousin, and then I known Lewis since freshman year in high school. So I would say like 20. I was like 18, 17 years old when we all started going like to Jason's house when he had the studio on the back porch. And one of my buddies, Jesse, was rapping and he was one of the artists going out of there. So we're just doing a lot of stuff out of the back porch and just kind of started from there. We were all there, like we were throwing our New Year's parties there. So we're recording there, we're doing marketing there, social media there. And then one day, we started a production company and, moved into Fort Knox or whatever the case is. And yeah, we were here for a little bit and
Private stock's the result of a lot of different ideas and a ton of synergy from people. So, like you said, like when it started at my house, there was like a whole nother label that we had started there with friends and family, and there was a production company, a video company we had started, and we had all worked together, and that's what we were creating a ton of chemistry since I don't know 2010 ish. So like, it's 2010, and then by 2013, like me personally, I was at a fork in the road. Professionally, I was like, I can continue to work this corporate job, or I can try to pursue my dreams 100% and make that my reality. Um, and I chose to build a different studio and kind of take pieces from each team, and we came together and we started Private Stock in that back porch, and then ideas got bigger, and we started drawing pictures that he used to stare at, and he's like, "That's I don't know, man. It looks pretty crazy. I don't know if we can do that." And we just did it. We believed in each other, and in 2013 we just went for it full force.
hmm Why do you feel like it was so important to create something that was your own, right? Because once again, you started a bunch of different companies in different places, right? One example being LPZ.
hmm
You guys had that. Heart of the City. That was a whole nother thing that you guys were a part of, but it wasn't necessarily private stock. It wasn't just you.
At that time, I also had like a big idea of like kind of functioning in all those different areas, but with private stock, I feel like I we got to learn from a lot of different being a part of different teams and being around other creatives, and we were able to pick and choose what we wanted to take from that team or creatively what we learned and put it together here.
similar. Just for me, it was just about starting my own thing. I think at that point we had rent through a lot of trial and errors, learned a lot, and just it was kind of for me, it was at that point where it was like, this is literally gonna be ours. We're gonna run it the way we want to run it. And with the people that we want to run it. Because when we did private stock, it wasn't just like, hey, let's just build this and everything would come. We kind of singly handpicked our team going into it and being like, okay, this is what you're going to do. This is what we're going to do. And before we even took that big leap, we kind of sat with everyone and just kind of put all that together. So it felt special from the beginning of it, just from the even like how he's saying from the piece of paper and seeing the layout to everything. It was the first time for me that I was able to see something all the way from the beginning, like, from a piece of paper all the way through to actually seeing it
Yeah,
built in
from
front of my
inception
face. Yeah.
to
So
So, how did you guys decide who was private stock?
it wasn't so much how did we decide, it was really the people that were around and were really taking the stuff serious, right? We are coming from a place where we had like for me, I started doing music like at 16, 15 in high school with my buddies and shit. And it was just kind of like us not knowing what we were doing, but ended up meeting so many people in the city because dude was cold. Like he was probably the best in the city at the time during that time. So for me, it was just being able to go from there and actually now put in everything that I kind of learned and seeing all in one and just working with the people that I wanted.
We didn't choose the people chose themselves because we surrounded ourselves with people that were like-minded and really wanted to work. They wanted to show the world how creative they were, or whatever abilities they had at that point. Like I feel like the people that felt like they were supposed to be a part of the team, they kind of made themselves available to the team. It was super organic the way the team came together.
Like I remember in the beginning too, it was just like strong, dude. It was like family orientated. These were people that I was hanging out with every day, like going to lunch with, going out partying with, going out doing whatever, traveling and everything. So it was like it was our regular life, but with a purpose finally. You know what I'm saying? So we were all going out with our private stock sweaters, whether it was to the clubs, whether it was just around to a bar, like where we started making a noise and the city, like I kind of started seeing people following and being like, yo, what is that? Who are you guys? And everything. So like everyone who was a part of it, and I mean pretty much everyone's still a part of it, like at some capacity. I still talk to everyone. Like it was all family based, you know what I'm saying? To people that I still talk to till this day. So
Mm.
that I think that was the biggest thing for I think all of us here, but it was just that how I said I've known these guys forever. It's been like a brotherhood, so it's an extended family outside of my regular family.
It's carrying those already established relationships into something else that you love, right? Um, and I think that that's what's amazing about being here is that you really do get that family vibe. For me, I do wish that my friends were into the same shit that I'm into, but they're not. And that's what makes it hard about building out your own team, right? Like I got my boy Swift. Swift is a great help. He loves to help me out and he loves watching what we do, but not many people love the fucking music industry.
Trying to get your friends in the beginning to support you, go out to your shows, buy your merch, just support you at a full capacity is probably the hardest thing you gotta do, right? So for me, just like with any business or anything that I do forward, I don't want to say that I don't worry about my friends because they end up falling in line once things are cool. Some people are there from the beginning, you know what I'm saying? That's gonna happen, but most of the people around you are not gonna want to do the things you do until you really do it, if you know what I mean. Like once they see it and it actually happens, they're the ones that are gonna hit you up like, yo, what's up? Can you get me in? Yo, what's up? Can I go with you? You know what I'm saying? So once I stopped caring so much about like, oh, my friends aren't coming, my friends ain't doing this, and we just kind of were like, fuck it, we just gotta go. You know what I'm saying? So bro, we used to go to every show. We used to go out every day. We were whatever we had to do, we did, and it became to a point where it's all like whoever's available is available, and we're gonna go. And that's how a lot of these relationships started too. It's like just being at the right places at the right time and just going. Luckily for me, like it's not the same for everyone. I did have a lot of my friends that I wanted to do this with. You know what I'm saying?
Private stock was never about the space; it was always about the people, and it takes a lot of courage and vulnerability to do something like this, and a lot of like not listening to the regular social constructs that are put on us, right? Like people telling you like you can't make it in the creative field and earn money and survive. So we needed to kind of like break through those barriers to even do that, and it's cool that we found the right mix of people to do that with.
That's one question that I asked you multiple times, right? I'm over here thinking I'm like, what money you do make, you put back into the studio. It's all an investment back. So for you, how did you find that way to make your living out on just, the music in the music industry?
We're all multi talented. Like we do a lot of different things. We may creatively direct a show or a brand. We do project management. We found so many ways, so many different ways to make money within this industry. It's not just a studio. We anything that takes a creative team to do, we can do all that shit. If it's an independent film or a music video or a photo shoot, it doesn't matter. We can do all of that. We have the
Mm.
resources and the people to do that.
How did you learn to get there though?
I just love all this shit. I think I never took no as an answer. My dad always told me if a man created it or made it, then you can do it too. So, what's the difference? Like, someone else can do it, you can. And I mean, we live in this technology era. If I want to learn something, I can easily Google that or YouTube it. You know, I spent countless amount of time reading, looking up stuff. I saw nothing as a barrier. I didn't care to see anything as a barrier.
You know, when we built the studio, we always said the studio wasn't going to be how we got rich. We're talking about partners, you know what I'm saying? Three partners charging X amount an hour, you know, like, yeah, obviously, like, we're booked and everything and we do well, but like, we always knew that that money was to keep the doors open and to build relationships to learn how to make more money in the industry that we want to be a part of. You know, like, it wasn't my lifelong dream to have a studio and run a studio business. Our dream was always to be in the music industry, you know, and being able to be creatives and curators of this. So for me, I mean, yeah, how Jason just said, we went and we started throwing our own shows. You know what I'm saying? We started educating ourselves on distribution and closing distro deals. We started educating ourselves on how to partner up with these brands where, you know, they're going to be interested in giving us money to do, whether it's a show, a gaming event, whatever it is, and being able to use their money and elevate their brand with ours at the same time. So it's just so many different ways. There's partnerships, there's syncing licenses. So it was literally taking the time and learning all different aspects of the business. And it's easier when I have Lewis and Jason also being like, yo, I just read this, check this out, or like, you know, or yo, like we should do this. But I think the beauty in all this was that we all just kind of listen to one another. Like, there's stuff that he may be good at that I'm not good at. There's stuff that he may be good at that I'm just not good at as well. You know what I'm saying? So when they bring stuff to the table, we always let someone spearhead it. So Lewis may be more knowledgeable at something that I am, but like, you know, as long as we have his back and we go through it, we started seeing the results, you know?
You guys are a three-headed monster. You know, I was talking to Swift about it. Like, you all are really good at different things, right? Herson's very social. Every time I see it's Herson, he's always talking shit. Like,
That's all I'm good at.
he's just very friendly and able to, you know, build those relationships. Jason's very technical. At the event, he was running everything as far as the stream. Lewis, I know he's very business minded, right? He's the one that's building those relationships and getting us into Emporium, making sure those events happen. I don't know if Herson also had a hand in that, so I don't want to take away from Herson.
That's crazy that you just said. So I'm just a talker now. You,
Hey, he's good at it,
no,
though.
you got to get your facts a little better here. No, I'm just playing.
What do you feel like's your weakness that the other person, one of the partners, may have to come in and help you out?
I mean, my weakness is tunnel vision. So like the team keeps me balanced, and if I'm hyper focused on something, they're able to pick up the pieces on other sides of the business. So I know that's one of my biggest weaknesses.
I don't know what my weakness is. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't. I'm not saying I don't have any. I'm just.
I think the word weakness is bad, right?
Yeah,
Like, so
yeah, that's
so
what it
like
is.
Hurston's not going to be the technical person, right?
I don't do tech.
He might have ideas on like, hey, I want this to happen in a room. Jay, what do you think? How do we make that happen? So
Look, I say it, and then I guess I guess that I mean that works out. That's one of my things. Like, you know, I'm able to say like I would like this to look like this, and then they can probably like make me see it visually. I'm a visual learner. You know what I'm saying? I've never been someone who could read instructions and be very good at it. So, you know, I probably call these guys a lot, just being like, yo, what the heck?
but it's not just, I'm not talking about like rooms. Like Herson will be like, man, I'd like to roll out this project X, Y, and Z way. And I'd be like, damn, that's cool. We can do, this is how we can fill in the gaps on your ideas here. Like, so we hold each other accountable and we just work super well together. Somehow, like he said, whatever one person doesn't know over the other, we balance each other out.
Which is rare because a lot of the times people discourage friends from working together. It's always said you don't mix, you know, family and business, friends and business.
You know what we have over other teams is we don't work off an ego. I don't give a shit about that. I don't care if it's his name first or mine last, or if all we care about is our end goal and the brand, and we're not regular friends. We're literally like siblings. Like we're a family. So we don't give a fuck about none of that. When people try to like nitpick that or try to start that with us, we're like, we don't care. I could care less.
I done heard some crazy stories.
Yeah. It's not a thing.
What do you mean?
No, I'm just joking. I mean, bro, it's what he said. I have no ego. Like, if someone came to me and was like, "Oh yeah, I met Lewis, the owner of Private Stock. You're his worker," I literally sit there and say yes.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Or like Jason said that he did this all by himself. Yeah, he did. Like I none of that shit bothers me. Like we know what we have, you know what I'm saying? And
I think people throw narratives like that. We don't make up those narratives, so we know we don't care about that.
I wouldn't say we have any weaknesses. We're a small business. We're three individuals, so everyone has to do pretty much everything. So like for myself, like starting 10 years ago with Pivot, like I had to learn PR. I had to learn how to shoot content. I had to book shows. So I wouldn't say we have weaknesses. I would say we just we all work well, and we all just gotta have to figure it out, to be honest with you, because it being a small business, I gotta be a publicist. Jason has to run everything through tech. Sometimes Jason's the publicist. Sometimes Herson's the booking agent as well. So
We're
that's
also happy to learn.
yeah.
So and we're open. We're open to if we know someone's more knowledgeable than us, we're like, damn, how can we consume whatever they know?
So talk about pivot real quick. Whenever anybody comes in, one of the first things they notice is comfort zone on the wall, right? And previously I heard Lewis saying, pivot really helped us get our start.
That was a great learning experience. I think that was our not our, I don't want to say our first time. We've worked with a lot of talented people, but we just felt like that was special. Like that was a special talent. That was a special team or a group of rappers and creatives. And like Lewis said, we got to learn how to do PR to a crazy level. We got to create a lot of relationships. We got to see a project get made right in front of us in our brand new studio that we had just built. Like and watch these kids utilize it in a special way that we didn't even think was possible. So if I mean to wrap it up, that was a great learning experience, and it kind of taught us how to move a certain way.
How have you guys taken that into your work with the next artist?
I think a lot of relationships were made, and obviously we kept meeting new people and whatnot, and we were able to kind of take an artist and see where they were at and put them in the right spots. And that's not every artist is going to be rolled out the same way or positioned the same way. So we knew like, hey, this artist makes this type of music. They work this way. They like to be interviewed a certain way. Like we just knew how to place people in the right spots.
Pivot was just special. Like you knew from the beginning that they were gonna do something, and
Yeah.
look at where they're at now. Saba, like I, I've seen Saba rock a show with 2, 3 people there to where he's at now. Like to me, I think that's
With the
crazy.
same energy.
Same energy, the dedication that he puts in. Those guys are amazing over there. So I mean, it was a special time for sure for our career, just because it was the beginning, and it kind of was just perfect. How he said there was a lot of relationships that came out of there and things, but it was a good time.
So then going back to the family aspect, it's something that you guys have built. You guys have had people come in and out of this place. Two notable names that have continued to stick through the studio is Flex Lennon and Icon. Those two people have really helped define and shape what private stock is when it comes to people you've added to the group.
We couldn't create private stock without those producers.
Icon and myself used to stay at the studio every single day, taking every session with anyone who came in, sleeping here, and literally no windows, no nothing, just not knowing what time it is, walking out 2 days later, and it's like, damn, we've been there 48 hours or whatever the case. And Flex has been here since the beginning of time. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, in order, there's no real private stock without those guys for sure. I think I'm just not, don't care about those beginning 10 years anymore. That's just where I'm at. I just think I don't care about those beginning of the 10 years because those are the questions they always ask us when we do stuff.
I think the beginning of the 10 years is what was covered mainly because when you go back and you do the research, that 2016, 2017, 2018, and then there's 5 years missing, right? And that's one because of the pandemic. Pandemic shut everything down.
Oh, yeah.
But then again, you guys were also working on something else that has now kind of, I don't want to say disbanded because I don't know if you guys are still working on it, trying to find new talent to replace that. But there is a gap right there where you guys were building something that nobody knew about.
Starting to work with Spanish music, Latin music wasn't about signing an artist or anything like that. It was about we finally felt like we didn't have to mask as anything. We didn't have to be this hip hop company. We could be just music lovers, music creatives. And now we get to touch music that we grew up listening to because we are Latinos. And so it's been awesome seeing the city of Chicago even dive into Latin music, because Latin music doesn't get distributed from here and blow up. You know, like you usually go back to where you're from, whether it's Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Mexico. Like you go back there, even if you're from here and you try to blow up, right? We're believers that we want to create some type of industry here, and it doesn't have to be necessarily English. It can also be Latin music. And so we were just super excited to now see these artists trying to do this, and now we're able to like, hey, we can help develop you. We can help distribute your music. We can help create that narrative that you need to get to the next level. And that's really, I don't want to say we were working on that for the last 5 years. We gave ourselves the freedom to do that.
Go over the last 5 years, right? Because you can easily go through the first 5 years. 2016, the fire happened, so you guys have to rebuild everything.
So it's 2016, the fire happens. 2017, we build the multiplex. What happened in 2017 and 2018 is that we started not only to work on whatever music we wanted to, but we started expanding the team. At one point, we had 20 engineers working out of here, and we were trying to figure out like how do we sustain that part of the business. We had one of our main engineers bought a house just working here. We found a way to create the right amount of revenue for someone to actually live their regular day-to-day life with. The last 5 years was just us really becoming a company and not just working on X, Y, and Z project. Now we're like, oh, how do we make this a sustainable company where if a college student graduates from SAE as an engineer or a publicist, they can come in here and essentially work a 9 to 5.
I think the last 5 years we were just like self-aware of who we were and what we really wanted to do moving forward. I like I say, like the beginning of time, for sure. Those were all lessons, learning experiences. A lot of good times, a lot of bad times, a lot of times just doing shit, not knowing what we were doing and figuring it out. I think the last 5 years we kind of honed in at what we were good at and what we wanted to do, and that's what we started doing.
Within the last 5 years, we've been able to close major deals. We've closed distribution deals with SoundCloud, Vidya, um, possibly, or no, I'm sorry, AWOL, publishing deals with Ultra Music. So within that span, I guess we've been record deals with Motown. So we've kind of been low key, but at the same time, I think our business has become a little bit sharper. And we've brought more opportunities to the table that probably people just aren't aware of.
Well, I was gonna say, I was like, if it feels like a time lapse from 2018 till now, it's because we were focused on business and not necessarily all of that gets put on socials. It was more like, hey, we're really doing this work now.
Before we started the interview, this is funny. This just happened right now. I was interviewing an engineer who wants to start working here now, and that's exactly what he says. He's like, I know about private stock. I've been at private stock, and I know y'all do a lot of dope shit. But there's always like a mysterious thing about you guys where it's all like, y'all do too much for me to be able to unwrap it and understand what it is specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think we're just working. I think the biggest thing for us though within those 5 years is that when we started this, I think we were banking on other people to go and get it for us. Not necessarily go and get it for us, but it's like we depended if they made it for us to make it. Where I think we kind of self reflected throughout the years. And, I kind of look at my brothers and I just told them, like, this is all we need to really make it in this industry. You know what I'm saying? We don't need necessarily an artist to be defined, like private stock does not have to be defined by an artist. It doesn't have to be defined by a producer or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? It's defined by us and what we want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's paint our own narrative versus letting other people paint our narratives. You know what I'm saying?
What was the situation that led to that conversation?
Just self-reflecting. I mean, this is the music industry, man. Like, ain't nobody gonna sugarcoat this shit for no one. Like, I mean, there's ups, there's downs, there's good moments, there's bad moments. You work with artists, you don't work with artists. They love you one day, they hate you the other day. Like anyone who's been in our position, from management to labels and everything like that, like that's just part of the game. And there's no hard feelings for no one. You know what I'm saying? Because it just happens everywhere. You know what I'm saying? You get the draw. You see these people blow up with these labels that and then they fall out all the time. We see this with major artists. So I think for me, it was just seeing it happen so much and just being like, all right, well, if I'm sitting here and I'm gonna put all my eggs on one in one basket, and then this person gets to dictate, like, you know what, I don't want to rap no more, or I don't like you no more, or this anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't gonna make me successful, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I had to make a name for us, for ourselves, for me, for private stock, where it was like, cool, bro. Like, if you want to work with me, great. If you don't, cool. Like, I'm still gonna be fine. I'd rather make it with you. Like, anyone that I work with, I'd rather make with them 100% of the time, because that's the reason why I invested my time. But I think for me, it was just more like, yo, I'm gonna go and get it myself. Like how I said, we done close deals where people don't even know about. You know what I'm saying? But part of some pretty cool deals. You don't. And it was probably a one off. Like, hey, we got the right people. Let us put you in a situation. We didn't help people from beginning to end that people don't know about and got them in the situation. We're just on the backseat. So there's just how we talked about in the beginning. There's just so many different things that we do, from events to recording music to doing all that. So just finding our use and what we were good at and honing in on what we, I would say, specialize in, which is everything now. But and just going at it for ourselves. Like, there isn't a day where I'll let Lewis call me and be like, damn, bro, I'm not feeling it. Cause it's like, no, like, okay, that's cool. Like, it's a good run, bro. But like, don't forget, like, you're the ticket, bro. Like, we have so many valuable relationships. Same thing with Jason. Like we have so many valuable relationships that we can do this over and over and over again.
We just did an interview with Pee Wee the Plug,
Yeah.
and in the interview he talks about how Jay Z, right? He's able to be successful in so many different lanes because he's done it once already. He learned the blueprint, and so he keeps repeating the process over and over and over, and that's how he's found success in right liquor, recording, building up a whole different studio, Rock Nation, right? And for you guys have continued to show improve. I mean, you don't make it 10 years without doing that, without even adapting, right? Because there's so many times where you guys have had to adapt out of certain situations. You've had times where people just, you know, like you said, the situation doesn't work out anymore and you got tired of banking on other people to make it happen for you. So opening your door to so many different people and seeing it not work out, what makes you guys continue to do it moving forward?
I had a conversation with my dad. He said, "When's enough?" Right, and I think what he meant was like, "All right, did you fail?" And I told my dad, I was like, "I don't believe in failure. I only believe in learning." So when you said it, you just said it right now, adapting. Like we pivot. Something happens, doesn't work out, or it did work out. We adapt. We move accordingly. We learn. We switch it up, and we keep it. We just keep it moving. We've never. I've never like, oh, I didn't like the outcome of that. Someone's like, damn, how can I do that differently and make that shit move or work next time? And it's always been that. I don't believe in losing.
This is the music industry. It's like the NBA and everything. Like, only a certain amount of people make it in this industry. You know what I'm saying? And my doors are always going to be open for the new people, the old people. I hold no grudges. You know what I'm saying? For not on no one. So I mean, how do we get better without practicing? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we get better without trying? With not necessarily failing, but learning from these experiences. So at there's times where things just don't go your way. In the last 10 years has been a lot of times where I done felt like, damn, like shit just always like never gonna work or something. But when I start self-reflecting and just being like, damn, look at all we've accomplished, and we've done this, you know what I'm saying? And along with people as well too. Like, I never take away the credit from people and what they've done, because we do our services, they gotta do their services too. But yeah, I think our doors are always going to be open for everyone. That's why we built private stock. When we opened private stock, it wasn't to become a recording studio. It was to be a community for the people. It was for people to come in from, photographers, videographers, engineers, producers, artists, creatives, anyone who's working on some type of entrepreneurship, or in a creative space. We wanted them to have a safe haven where they could come in and be like, yo, I was in there today and I saw my boy Matt from Sad Boy. Like I've been trying to hit this guy up and DM him all the time for an interview, but I got to talk to him in person. Or like, yo, I was in there the other day and Juice World was recording. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what we did it for. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it was to create that space for people to have it.
It's also hard to say that we failed because I don't believe that we failed because every artist I feel like we've worked with within the last 10 years, we've kind of created a platform and we've given them the ability to grow from the platform we help them create. So I don't like to say it as a failure because even if we stopped working with the artist or the individual, we still grown since then and they probably still grown as well because we do teach these artists how to create a blueprint. And I wouldn't say every artist is different, of course, but there's a way to move as a certain artist, and I feel like we do show these artists how to do things correctly, and I feel like they benefit from it regardless.
You don't leave out of here with nothing. Artists or just coming in here, even for people who just record with us, being able to pick our brains and stuff. Like I have a lot of clients of mine that I just sit down with that probably booked a 2 hour session and then we just sit down and we just bounce ideas through each other. And like I said, that's what we always wanted to be. There's no real music industry here in Chicago. There's a couple studios ourselves, Classic, and a couple other studios, you know what I'm saying, that have served the industry. And there's a lot of other like executives that have came in and out of Chicago, but at the end of the day, we can't walk into Def Jam tomorrow. We can't, we got to travel and fly out, you know what I'm saying? So being able to be somewhat of a bridge to these artists sometimes for that, um, has always been like we always try to help where we can. That's why I say like I'll never close my door on no one. Like, you know what I'm saying? New artists, old artists, whatever. Like the doors are always open for them.
So, what are some of the biggest changes you guys have seen in yourselves individually?
I mean, for me, there's been a lot of changes, right? Like I fucking had a stroke, so health wise, like as an individual, for me, like not taking everything for granted, you know what I'm saying? And really appreciating every moment that I kind of have, yeah, that was like a weird time for me. I had to reteach myself how to walk. I had no sensation in my hand. And I was out, I want to say probably like for 4 to 5 months before I really started coming back around.
When was that?
Yeah, 2018, 2017, I want to say around that time.
Yeah.
So and I was in good shape, I wasn't this big. No, but yeah, I was in good shape. Everything was just a freak accident. So for me, since that happened, like it was it was kind of like an eye opener, right? Where it was like, yo, I gotta go hard in everything that I do. Like I can't take shit for granted, Like I said, being able to walk every day and then waking up one day and not being able to walk from here to that door without holding on to something or someone and not being able to feel what I'm touching, not being able to really see. Yeah, that was a tough time. So I think from that moment on, I just kind of told myself like, man, every day we gotta go hard because shit could end like this. You know what I'm saying? Um, so that obviously I have a daughter now, so having kids and having to raise them and being in this industry and being able to take time out for them. Um, yeah, so I mean, I feel like from where I started, I was just definitely like focused, going out, doing everything I had to do, and where I'm at now, it's kind of like prioritizing. But like how he said, we learned a lot to kind of organize ourselves now and just putting stuff in order for us to kind of just move forward.
For me, it's just more experience. 10 years ago, I mean, myself, I was a pup in the game, so like literally, I was teaching myself everything. So what's that laughing?
Why
But
you
I,
laughing at him, bro?
pup in the game, I guess I mean, I was literally a baby. So like I was teaching myself everything. And at this point, I don't have to be an artist's videographer. I don't have to be an artist's booking agent or publicist. So now at this point, with the artists that we work with, they have their own teams. Um, and just the overall experience as far as like working label deals, brands partnerships, like all that experience throughout the 10 years kind of just yeah shaped me to where I'm at now.
Time management.
Becoming a father has been a crazy journey. Um, Also, being able to let go, not try to control everything. It's something I'm still working on, but that's something I've been trying to grasp and be better about. But the rest is just learning. Like the last 10 years has really been about learning and adjusting and gaining new skill sets every year.
For all of you, right? Being in the music industry, I know Jason has talked about it, the tunnel vision. You're so focused on, I gotta go, I gotta get to it. Uh, Herson going through your house battle. Do you feel like before that you were too focused on work?
I think I wasn't counting our wins, right? It was just kind of go, go, go at all times. So it was like, this was cool. We would accomplish something and it'll be cool, but it was like next, next. And then, when everything happened with that, I had to take a look and be like, yo, I'm laying in bed. I can't move type shit. And I'm like, this is what we have done, what I'm saying, throughout this time. Like, where we come from, like, shit like this is just dreams and hopes, bro. Like, my mom, she understands now, right? Because and my dad, and they're super supportive, everything. Not saying that they weren't, but when you tell a Latino parent you're going into like the music industry and this is where you're making your money from, or just like an entrepreneur, like to them that's different. It takes time for them to even. So where are you making money from? Like, how are you? You know what I'm saying? Is this real? And it's not that they ever question me, but they're used to the tradition of what they wanted for me was go to school, which I did. You know what I'm saying? But like get a degree, do all these things that they perceive for me. So I think it's one of those things for me where how I go back and say where I come from, like teachers probably didn't believe that we could do this, like it's not really an option. So for me, the biggest accomplishment is that I made a non-option reality. You know what I'm saying? So there's there's good times and there's bad times. There's times where we make a lot of money. There's times where we're figuring out how to make money. You know what I'm saying? But the reality of it is that I've been doing this shit since like 23, 24, independent without a job. Like, I quit my job, I think at 24, 23. And I've been able to do this and be self employed. And I may not be the richest man on earth, you know what I'm saying? But I feel rich because I've been doing this with the people that I love. I've been doing it with people that I love. Throughout the years, I met new people that I now have relationships and love. You know what I'm saying? Like even the people who have been in here and have left and everything like that, like those were still times and pivotal times in my life where I still cherish and appreciate, even if it did end sour or anything like that, because it made me who I am, but also because I'm still here. Like I'm still here doing this, And I had a conversation with my girl, and I was just all like, we're thinking about different things, buying properties and stuff, and I'm like, you know, I love music. It's always gonna be a part of me. You know what I'm saying? So this is something that is gonna be with me forever. But there's come a time where like you just want to dabble into some other stuff too. So this has given me the option to do that as well, where it's like I could explore different things and try different things now.
What are some of those things that you would dabble in?
I've always wanted to get into real estate personally, like not necessarily like a broker or something like that, but you know, buy up some buildings, fix them up, all that stuff. Like that's something that I think that's always caught my attention. So just kind of educating myself in that. Um, it's probably like the one thing I do, but want to do, and the creative space a little bit more. I mean, we are in the creative space, but I've worked on a couple projects and stuff, and see that I could help out. One of work seeing Bart and his career too, and just being able to understand more about film and like different aspects of it. Like I wouldn't mind dabbling into that. Yeah, I mean, for right now, it's this.
I always see myself just becoming more of a creative in this space. So any types of media and just learning more software, whether it's video editing or social media stuff. Like I just want to do more of becoming a creative, and not just for other people, but for myself.
music is everything to me. So it's just trying to continue to build this Chicago community to where we think it could be.
I think not just besides us three and a lot of other people in this city, but we owe it to ourselves to kind of like build a foundation of a sense of business and a bigger community here for the next generation that's coming up to make it easier. I feel like during our times there was a lot of like gatekeepers and no one wanted to share knowledge or information or connections or anything like that. I was like, this is mine and I'm gonna hold it. Where I feel like a lot of us now are open with working with one another and helping, open these gates for this next generation to come out and make a noise because that's what it's all about. I mean, I always want to do music. I never want to leave music. Like, I mean, I never want to leave private stock. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not something that's even a question. Whatever it takes, we're gonna make it happen. But yeah, I think as we're getting older and we're not old yet, but you know what I'm saying? It's to open doors for someone like you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, we sit here and we talk and you're like, man, who should I interview? And then it's like, man, but I don't know this person. And us being able to be like, man, that's actually my friend. Let me hit him up and see if he's down, and helping that, where something that might seem impossible, we can make it possible, right? Or with the next person, it's like, hey man, I'm really trying to get into this office and I'm going to New York. It's like, yo, this is my man's. He works here. Or, my man's has a studio in New York. Like, hit him up. So creating that and bridging it and bringing it to Chicago, that would be big. Cause I mean, I think our big goal is to see Chicago flourish.
Why do you feel like that's so important, though?
Seeing what we had in 2012, with the drill scene, Chance, Saba, the McJenkins, I mean, so many more artists, you know what I'm saying? Seeing that and seeing how special it was to the city and how the city came together to build that, you know what I'm saying? There was no better city or anywhere where these executives or label heads, anything were going to outside of Chicago. We were the cream of the crop. And we still are. People come over here and, want to see what's happening.
It's important to create an industry here because there's so much talent here. I think people forget that rock and roll is from Chicago. Like, we're the city of rock, we're the city of blues. There was an industry here at one time, before we were born. The labels were here, the studios were here, and I feel like we need that energy back. I think we deserve that energy. I think there's just so much untapped talent here. And it's important for us to build that industry for the same reason No ID said, Chicago has a lot of great talent, but no music business or no business sense. And, to see someone like from the crib say that, it sucks. So it's just like, how do we change that? How do we change that narrative? And how do we push forward? An industry belongs in Chicago. We're a major city.
So real quick before we close out, I want to take it back to the personal side a little bit, right? We talked a lot about the business side, but over 10 years, you guys have had to balance work and your life, right? Work-life balance, personal relationships, but the business always came first. How have you guys figured out a way to balance that as you've grown older?
I think we're still trying to figure that out.
Outside of, relying on each other, because there's times where, like I said, my life has changed so much from the beginning of time. Like, we're talking about my daughter's school recital or me having to be here. I'm picking my daughter's school recital now. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but I might have to miss one or two if something else was there. But yeah, I think it's just relying on one another. And, we talked about strengths, weaknesses, and all that stuff, but we hold each other accountable, and we can count on one another to be there and everything. But yeah, that's a hard balance, you know what I'm saying? Because every day is new.
It's not happy go lucky. There's gonna be days like he said, like he has to do something. He's like, hey, Jay, even if you don't want to do this, there's no one else. You gotta go do it. And I was like, all right.
The business has always came first, and everything. But I think now it's just every day is new. So there'll be days that I think I don't got nothing to do, and I'll get a call like, "Hey, we got to do this," or "This person's in town." So it's. I think Lewis said it best: is he's always wanted to be in music. Like for me, it's like we're here now, and I'm not gonna take it for granted. Like I'm gonna do it if I have to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like if I have to be here, I'm gonna be here. You know what I'm saying?
When you walk into being a creative, you do it because you love it. You do it because it's your passion. and that's all that you want to do. That's all you want to focus on. So when somebody tells you that, hey, I got this for us to do, nah, let me go do what I actually want to
I mean,
do.
the difference is like a person with a standard 9 to 5. That's not something they necessarily love most of the time. It's something they do to, meet ends meet, like to pay their bills. But you do have to balance life and work. But the difference is that private stock is my life.
Yeah.
This is what we love to do. This doesn't come off as like, oh fuck, I got to do that. This is more like, damn, I'm so excited to go do that shit. I'm so excited about this next project, this new adventure, this new venture, this new partnership. Like, this is what we signed up to do. This is why it's like, this is not something I want to quit tomorrow. This is something I want to do for the rest of my life.
It doesn't feel like work when you love what you're doing. It just feels like, okay, we gotta do this today. Okay, we gotta do this today, and you just kind of keep on going.
There'd be people that be mad, like, oh, like you get to have fun. I was like, we chose to do something we love to do. Don't get mad.
No, I get told like, oh, but you get to hang out with your friends while I have to be at work, or you get to have fun, and I'm like, this is work. Like, you think I want to be out? Like, sometimes sometimes I want to be home too, but people think because Instagram might look a little lit, or it'd be like, oh, it looked like a good time, or maybe because I'll post something making fun of him or something. It's like, but we're out here doing work. Like, this is just so happened that this is my job.
You just got to be dedicated. That's the thing. Like being an entrepreneur, you honestly don't have time for certain things. Like me specifically, like the last 2 years being on tour, I've been gone for 2 months. I'm missing my brother's birthday. I'm missing my cousin's birthday. But those are the sacrifices you got to take. Like even when we go on business trips as well, like Herson's probably missing his daughter's birthday, or it could be. I don't think he missed his daughter's birthday, but
I missed a couple others.
but you got to make sacrifices. And if you're not willing to sacrifice in this industry, I don't think you're going to make it. And
Mm.
those are the tough decisions you got to make every day.
How'd you become okay with that though?
If you want it, you'll make those sacrifices.
And we also, our high school teacher for me and Lewis, we live by the quote: "If you build it, it will come." And you can't build stuff with taking days off, like when you need to be there. You know what I'm saying? Uh, it's super, super important to be where you need to be. And even when you feel you're not supposed to be there, those are the best times that things come out. You know what I'm saying? Like at spots that I didn't want to go to or felt that I didn't have to be at, some of my best relationships have came out of those things.
What's one of them?
Man, I don't know. It's 10 years worth of stuff. I mean,
God.
Jesus, I don't know. I'll be
Put
at
you
the
on the spot.
No, I mean, I at the studio. Let me see.
I mean, you would go to an event and then you stumble
Yeah,
on
no,
someone.
for sure that. But I mean, there's just like been big artists that I was able to meet. I mean, we closed a major deal just for me being being somewhere and bringing it back, and Lewis going to go get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just got to be there. We meet great people.
Individually, what's some of the things you guys are most proud of?
I'm proud of this. I'm proud to be sitting here on this couch with my brothers. 10 years, people trying to tear us apart, everything. Part of the history, you know what I'm saying? I'm proud to call this ours, you know what I'm saying? This is our story. Like, so many pieces that come along with it, but when you see this name, like this is us. This is what we did. This is who we are, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of dope stories that come throughout the 10 years, like being able to do certain things that you never did. But when I sit here and I think about everything, and this is what I'm proud of, man. Like, look, we're at our space. I'm here with the people that I started with, and we're still going. So this is what I'm proud of.
I'm proud of the community we brought in. Just going to our 10-year event last week, just walking in, I saw old engineers, interns, artists that we worked with, all just coming up to us and congratulating us, and also letting them know that they were a part of this journey as well. Um, so community to me is probably the main thing, the biggest thing for sure.
It's always been about the people. Even sharing this moment here with you, sitting underneath this logo, seeing Isaac out there, who I tell people, like, if Isaac didn't take time to teach me to use Pro Tools, or just become a part of that world at all, like I wouldn't have even attempted any of this. So this is like a full circle moment. This is insane. Um, I just appreciate this moment. The 10 years is really about this moment right here. and how we're able to share this.
And I'm like honestly thankful for everyone and anyone who's like walked in here, been a part of it. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's been 10 years, 2 years, 1 year, months, whatever, anything that's been contributed to his name that have helped. Like super grateful for that, for all the people. Like the community is what we did it for. And I think we built a pretty solid community and we're going to keep on growing from there.
When it's all said and done, what do you guys want people to remember about Private Stock?
Honestly, and it doesn't even have to be about us. I feel like at the end of the day, I just want people to understand that if they walked in here, anything was possible. That anything that they were dreaming of or thinking of was possible.
Sure, I would like to be remembered as, pioneer, someone who really fought for that and really cared about the city, the community, and these artists, these creatives, and always try to push for that here. Obviously, we'd accomplished a lot of dope things in the last 10 years, but when it's all said and done, yeah, well, legacy, like that's what I want to leave behind. It's a legacy, and for people to always remember that and that we were a part of this.
I agree with both of them.
One of my biggest accomplishments for sure is definitely being able to go back to our community where we're from and being able to help the community centers there provide not only toys, food, feminine products, anything you could think of. We team up with Casa de Hernandez and Humble Park Solidarity Group since the pandemic and before the pandemic, with our toy drives. And we have been able to give back to the community, because I know when I first started, I thought I had to be rich, like a millionaire, to be able to give back to my community. But as we went on and we took the challenge and we challenged each other to give back, I realized that with the community we built, we were able to do that. So I'm really happy to be able to give back to Humble Park. True native from there, still there. Love my neighborhood. Shaped me into who I am.
I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate you sitting down with me.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming here, stealing all our time. Just
This motherfucker done lost.
no, but that's how you want to end it?
Yeah,
You want a shout out? Like, yo, because I'm about to rap. I'm about to get my freestyle on. So, like, I'm about to go up there.
Make sure you guys go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. Sad Boys for real. Peace out.
This is Sad Boy Radio.
Broken pieces, who's to blame?